It should be authentic, Don't just learn something for the sake of learning something. Do it because you want to really develop in that direction.
Welcome to Get Inspired, your podcast to feel connected, empowered and inspired by real-world role models and their stories of managing parenthood with successful careers. Our guest today is university lecturer Dr. Patricia Widmer, whose role running the Women's Leadership Programme at Gallen University has given her a unique insight into how women can grow their careers as parents. She's also a mom herself, so has lots of personal experience to draw from. The host of this podcast is Ricarda Engelmeyer, founder of My Collective. Here she is to introduce Patricia in more detail.
Patricia, welcome to My Collective and welcome to our Impulse session. Patricia is the program director at the University of St. Gallen, and she is responsible for the program Women Back to Business, as well as Women's Leadership Program, and is also hosting a conference called Career Relaunch. And all of that at the Executive School of Management, Technology and Law at the University of St. Gallen. So all of that makes you, Patricia, an expert on the topic of diversity and inclusion, and very much with a specific focus on the career of women and their return to career specifically. So I would like to kickstart there. Why return of the career? What happens to the careers of women? Is it the family creation time? Is it the loss of focus once you have a family? Is it the companies? Is it society? What are from your experiences the main reasons of why women leave their career in the first place?
Thank you so much, Ricarda, and welcome also from my side. And thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to talk to you and to talk with you tonight. So the reasons why women usually stop working or have a gap in their career and CV, I would say is kind of threefold. And this is also something that we look at quite deeply at the university. There are three circles that usually go hand in hand in our lives. And the three circles are basically my job, my career, my social environment, namely friends and family, could also be co-workers. That's where these two circles overlap. And the third circle is really me, myself, and I. And obviously that overlaps with the two other circles as well. So basically, when we look at the reasons, you can really find the reasons in these three circles, because I wouldn't say it has only to do with the company, or it has only to do with the family, or maybe only with me, but I think usually it's a combination. So first of all, the companies, and this depends a little bit on where we're looking at, also the cultures, the company cultures, the different legislation in different countries. But usually the companies, especially the corporate culture, plays a major role in the decision when and how I will go back to work. Is it an inclusive culture or not? And then obviously also the framework around politics. The second circle, this is basically the family, right? Friends and family. What are the expectations there? Like, have I ever talked with my partner before we had kids? What are the expectations there? Maybe parents or parents-in-law, play a factor. Also friends, what have my friends done when they had their first child? Were they, to stay home, or would they go back immediately? And then I think me, myself, and I, do I feel guilty leaving my child, right? So I think plays all into one decision at the end of the day. How am I going about when I have a child?
So once women have their children and sort of are in the family creation time, what happens in that time out? I mean, is it, I call it time out as in parental leave, but probably also quite often it's a bit more time. So in our program at My Collective, our participants are during parental leave, which is a limited amount of time, right? But you actually quite often have women who've been out for several years and actually took a break from working altogether and are then returning to their job. So during that time, I would say as a parent probably, what kind of skills do you see that you can gain as a parent, and how can you translate them also into leadership skills?
And that's a great question, because this is always the pitch to the companies why they should hire parents and especially mothers, because I honestly believe that there are a number of skills that mothers, also fathers, but obviously I'm looking more at women's careers, really mothers develop during, having children and raising children. I think you probably know exactly what I mean when I say everything around communication skills, right? How do I basically communicate with my stakeholders? How do I communicate with my child? How do I go into a connection with the children, but also with my other friends and families around the topic of going back, or around the topic of parenting skills? I mean, you probably know, once you become pregnant, everybody thinks they know it best, right? And especially when the child is here, everybody tells you what to do. So everything around really kind of that sense of belonging and inclusion in a given set.
Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of advice you're getting as a mother.
But everybody knows best.
Yes, you're right. But so what would be your advice then? Not about what to do best as a mother, but also how to avoid a break in a career if you actually don't want to have a break.
I think one thing where I see it's a huge topic is really stay connected and even actually enlarge your network, right? This can sometimes be a bit contradictory, because once you become a mother, obviously you don't have that much time anymore to network and to socialize, because you have that little bundle of joy there, but it is actually super important, to really stay connected and even build up new networks. Another thing is also, I think, to develop skills, maybe new skills, maybe even get coaching, I think having a coach, maybe it could even be a mentor through that time, really helps, because I think, and someone also said before, not knowing what to expect, not knowing, will I be able to transfer into the role again when I come back, and all these self-doubts and questioning yourself is really helpful to talk about with a coach and a mentor. So I think that would be something besides just connecting with new people and keeping in touch with your network. I would really also say to talk to different people. And then what I also think is super important is, what is your story? How do I position myself? Like, for what do I stand? Either because you want to stay home a little bit longer, what is my story there? When I go back, what's my story there? Just be aware of why are you doing what you are doing? Just always try to explain, because for you, it's obvious, but everybody out there, they have no clue what your story is. And I think it's super important to bring that across.
So that's what we call the elevator pitch once you go back, right? So that's sort of summarizing the skills that you've gained during your time out, but also where you want to go and where you're standing. I think also, I agree, this is super important. Question is, if you have gained parenting skills and you actually know how to use them and also verbalize them as leadership skills, and you can explain your story however long you were out of the career or not, are there skills that you would be missing if you've been out for some time? Are there any new skills that you should add? I mean, it also probably depends on how long your break is, but do you feel like that if you stay out for a couple of years, are there certain skills that you actually need to learn again? I mean, for example, we had Professor Preuss from the TU Munich here with us, and she was talking about lifelong learning, and she actually gave quite a nice advice. And she said, why not some digital skills, some AI kind of, or sort of course, or some blockchain kind of insights? Is that something that you feel is necessary? Or do you think it's rather the kind of soft skills, connecting and communicating and putting your network together?
I think it's both. But I think it should be authentic, Don't just learn something for the sake of learning something. Just do it because I think you want to really develop in that direction, and you might want to go and reposition yourself once you get back, something where you're authentically and genuinely interested. Then I think it makes sense to gain new digital skills, or also some ESG regulations in case you are more in that direction, or maybe even some technical skills in terms of if you come more from an engineering side. But the soft, I hate the word soft skills because they're definitely not soft, more like the human skills. I think that's also very important to really build up the resilience, for instance, to be flexible, to be able to develop your curiosity, once you get back. And then also to kind of be a motivator for your team and to nurture growth and really also take your team on this journey. And just kind of what I always feel is that if a mother comes back from maternity leave, a lot of people have this assumption of, is she really capable of doing it again? It's what like the mommy brain, the so-called mommy brain. So I almost feel that you really have to have a little bit more stamina and resilience in the first few weeks. Obviously, as a supporter and love to empower women, I hate to say that because I think it's super unfair and not equal, but it's just a reality. And I think it helps to be aware of that fact and just kind of face it and just show it to them all and basically get kickstarted once you're back.
That's great. So that would bring me to my last question, which would be if you can maybe share some personal parenting skills that you have gained in your own experience and that you were able to convert into leadership skill.
I was thinking about that question, and I maybe I can share. My kids are now 16 and 18, so I was able to develop that skill for now a long time. But even in the very beginning, one thing that I had to develop, which I didn't have that much in the beginning before I had kids, was flexibility. Flexibility and also kind of understanding and patience for other ideas, for another pace, actually. Usually I'm quite fast paced. So once you have a child, you forget about that. They have their own pace, right? You have to adapt and take them on your journey. So that's something that helps me now that I lead a team. But then the other thing is also motivate other people and being almost like a coach, and I still feel now that they are older, I still feel I'm not only their mother, but I'm really also their coach. And this is what I also feel with my team members. You're an enabler. You really want them to grow, and I think that's something that parents, especially nowadays, do a lot with their children. And so I would say flexibility and being a coach are those two skills that I really learned to develop together with my kids. And to be very honest, every day I learn something from those two and kind of grow, every day a little bit out of my comfort zone, which is amazing. So I think what you are doing with my collective is so relevant because this is exactly what we have to actually spread the word about, what we all learn as parents, and that's something the companies need.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us, and I hope you stay a little bit longer for our discussion as well.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.